Alright, so this is like not intended for a lot of people. This is just more like for friends or for people that are struggling for the Mara runs. Just gonna show my route real quick and the things that make it a little more consistent. Frostbolt this guy. I don't mind using consumables. I know for some people that's a turn off, but I don't really mind it, so I take some damage here. But Frost Nova this group. Blink. I see a lot of routes that will skip this pack in the corner here. So I'm going to pull this one with the Frostbolt. This one with the counter spell. Blink back into this pack. Clone of Cold close some. Frost Nova the others. They'll catch back up. I don't typically lose any of them. Ever that I know of. Now you can do like the wide turns here to regroup up the borers, but I find that I never actually lose them. So it's really not that big of a deal whether or not you're doing these wide turns and then blinking to gather them all to a central point. You can Ice Barrier there if you think they're going to hit you. They probably won't. Nature Protection Potions help if you're sloppy in your runs. They're cheap, like 50 silver. You don't have to use them. Blink here again. This is going to be one of the most crucial points to Ice Barrier, is right there. I used mine at the wrong time this run, but it's still coming up. It's about timing it at the correct time. These guys will catch up eventually. But you want to use your Ice Barrier there. I wouldn't use Mana Shield at all. You can pull this guy a couple different ways. I just pull him with a Frostbolt. Frost Nova these guys. Blink. Sometimes I Frostbolt this guy. Sometimes I Fire Blast him. I'm going to Fire Blast him this time because these guys are walking here because I didn't start immediately. That isn't normally the angle I'd pull that back at. Fire Blast him. Blink. Counterspell. Gonna Nova these slimes. Fire Blast the Shambler. After he hits me, I'll re-Ice Barrier. Gonna Cold here. Blink. You want to Arcane Explosion these slimes or pull them somehow. Because even though they're going to reset, they prevent mobs from resetting. Kind of Cold, or Arcane Explosion, Fire Blast. You can Nova him because he's close, Counterspell that back. You want to pull these slimes too. Some people walk into the left up there. I'm not a gnome. I prefer walking over here. Then I'm going to Clone of Cold this guy. And then again, you want to pull these slimes because it just helps prevent things from resetting. If you do a wide turn in here, it helps a little bit. Sometimes you'll take damage for that. Not always. Now you can Evocate depending on what your mana is looking like, how many times the imps hit you. You don't have to do a full Evocate. Frostbolt, and you can pull those guys at any point. Fire Blast. No, I'm not going to blink here. That'll sometimes cause resets. Now you can time your blink so that you land right there when they're at the top directly across, if like you went for a longer Evocate or if you bandaged some. This is one of the major changes I do in my route, is I come and get this room first. Just for like consistency purposes. Frostbolt, Counterspell, Fire Blast. Redo my Ice Barrier as it falls down. You want a Mana Shield up there. Not paying attention this run. You want to do your wide turn here to regroup everything up. Put up your Mana Shield. Dampen Magic. Your Dampen Magic can go up at any point, but... Just gonna make sure you go through a full blizzard here. I like to pull these guys now, as opposed to where you'll see most people pull them in their route. It's just one of my preferences. You can Frost Nova, Arcane Explosion, Cone of Cold, Fire Blast, anything on that pack you want to. Fire Blast that pack. I counterspell this guy regardless of where he is. I fucked up that blank, but I had both my shields up, so it didn't really affect me. If you find your timings off for that guy up there in this corner, you can pull him after you jump off here in a second. So I'm gonna rank 1 Blizzard the corner there, just for a little while. Let everything group back up a little. This makes the tail not as long later in the run. Ice Barrier, Mana Shield. At this point, I just keep them up throughout the entire run. I'm gonna Fire Blast this guy down here, and then bandage on runs that you need to bandage, or want to bandage. Whatever. Rank 1 Ice Blast, Frostbolt, whatever it is. Ideally, you find the stealth guy. There he is. Frost Nova, Cone of Cold, Fire Blast, Arcane Explosion. You can do anything on that pack, doesn't matter. And then one of the keys right here to make sure that you've got your group close together is you're going to take a long turn in this room, group them all together. It doesn't matter if this guy catches you because he's ahead of the entire pack. So you want to do your long turn, and then you want to blink somewhere in this area so that everybody's grouped up and coming to the centralized point or whatever. You don't have to jump up this, you can just walk up it. Blizzard the side there. Let them group up a little. Pull that group however you want. Fire Blast. Counterspell. Arcane Explosion. Arcane Explosion him. I like to Arcane Explosion these two guys. You don't ever want to pull Vile Tongue unless your group's helping you, because he fucking pulls out a bow. We'll just shit on you. It's not fun. It's kind of fun when you're bored and you're getting off for the rest of the night. You're just like, hey guys, help out on this last pool. Blink to group them all up. At this point is where I switch to, or I make sure my Dampen Magic's up. And then Blizzard a couple times here so that they group up. Sometimes I Frostbolt that guy. Normally I just Blizzard, move the Blizzard over. Everything's going to group up here. So everything's like relatively grouped there. And then in this room, after that pull, you're going to want to do this wide turn right here. It's going to be the most important turn of the entire dungeon. Switch to Mage Armor because nothing should be hitting you from here on out. Rebuff your Intellect because you're going to be full mana here soon in a minute. And then when you're moving on to the kill phase, you don't want to Blizzard up there for that last part. I find that it just makes it harder on yourself. You move down here. You don't have to do the blink up top or anything. You're coming in here. Now that you're in the room, you pop open your Ice Barrier, Mana Shield. And then you're just going to juggle back and forth up here. I don't bother starting off with the rank 1 blizzard, I just go straight into it. And then you move your blizzards as you need to juggle. So I'm going to walk over a little more left, get the imps to move up a little. And so the big thing I can say for this run is just not stress out when you get to the kill phase. If you're having troubles with the jump, you can just turn your camera, do the jump like normal. Not even putting back up ice barrier because I've already killed all the imps because I don't have mana problems. And I don't have the best of gear at all. I don't really think nature resist is needed after you've got the pull down. And then that's 191 mobs right there. That's without your emergency mana batteries. You want to leave these guys up. And then that'll just put you at 195. And so that's my 180 to 200 mob pool. Really consistent. I don't ever have problems with it. I see a lot of mages on my server that specifically are advertising like 130 to 160 mobs. And I'm like, I don't know how you get less mobs than that. But as I said, this isn't like a general public tutorial. This is just like more so for my friends that are asking. But it's super simple. And repeatable and extremely consistent if you go the route that I went. So there you go.